What's happening? Benton here. I have no idea if I'm going to have signal or not. I'm leaving Gallup, New Mexico, headed out to the middle of nowhere. Give a minute. I know Drew is live over at Get Chalked Up, so I was enjoying the festivities over there, but it was time to roll out. I'm going live much earlier than normal. I'm driving much earlier than normal. Headed for Provo Kid territory. I'll be in Provo in a few hours, but I don't plan to stop there, Provo Kid. Oh yeah, I've been setting my timer. I'm making sure to keep at least 3 hours between meals for my digestion. So, go ahead and set my timer there. Seems to be helping so far. Lots of wrecks out here, by the way. Lots of this is engines. We was engines. I forgot that's what I was going to name the stream. We was engines. There's lots of wrecks already. In fact, as soon as I got onto the highway here, this is a 2-lane highway. If you look at where, if you're curious, if you look at where Gallup, New Mexico is on the interstate, actually that's road construction. No, that is a wreck. It's a semi rolled over. So already in, let's see, how many miles have I driven? Less than 5 miles. There's been a drunk driver who I immediately spotted as actually the drunkest driver I've ever seen in truck driving, which is saying a lot. I immediately observed him being drunk, so I don't get anywhere near drunk. And it wasn't very much longer before that drunk caused a 3-vehicle accident up ahead. This is all Navajo Indians out here. I believe they're Navajo. Yes, there's nothing but Navajo out here. And if you look at where Gallup, New Mexico is on 40, I'm on these highways going north out of Gallup up to Salt Lake City. And this time of night, I already knew ahead of time, based on the time I was planning on rolling out, I knew it was just going to be drunks all over the roads. And if you've ever, I like to watch some of these DUI videos, but I don't like the part where they're actually doing the field sobriety. I watch all of the rest of the video. But the ones from New Mexico, that's like a whole nother level of DUI video. It's like the cop just most of the time, if they're native, dude, the cop just pulls them over and he's like, "How much have you had to drink?" And they usually just tell them, like, exactly. It's like, "Oh fuck, dude, I had a 12-pack or whatever." Yeah, this is crazy, and I'm exaggerating for effect just ever so slightly, but dude, it was wild. I wish I was live streaming it, although my camera's so shitty, you wouldn't have really been able to see anything anyway. But so, yeah, and so I knew I would be dodging the drunks. And in fact, I only drove 300 miles yesterday. I was planning to go further up this road, but the internet seemed like it was decent during Gallup. We're back. Sorry about that. I had to switch over to the T-Mobile. Went to no signal on the Verizon. So I suspected this would be the case. It's going to be several hours before I'm back in civilization, though. So figured why not give it a try. Again, certainly feel free to fuck off of this stream and go over to Get Chalked Up. He's probably still live, I'm assuming. Be the content you want to see in the world, right? Or in the meta, rather. Trying to remember where I was in my discourse when I looked up and to no signal. So apologies for that, folks. Hopefully we can stay connected. I'm going to check in with the chat, see if anybody's actually in here. 104 watching Get Chalked Up, by the way. So what are you even doing here? You either have excellent discriminating taste or maybe the BAC's gotten as high as some of these New Mexico drivers. It's funny just knowing ahead of time, thinking, yeah, well, if I roll out at 10:30, I'm on mountain time, then Saturday night and I'll be dealing with the drunks. And just, dude, as soon as I got on the main highway leaving town, just right behind a drunk. And at one point they went onto the shoulder and we're driving on the shoulder and just blew through a stoplight, a red light, just went right through it. And it wasn't too much longer after that before the wreck occurred, which I did not see the wreck. All right, almost to the chat. Thank you for your patience. Now I've gone incognito. Well, I didn't mean to do that. Your channel, that's where I'm trying to go. I'm looking at my thumbnail. Drew tried to find a picture of me where I looked less sickly. I think I'd rather have one with me with my currently thin face. I think kind of a chubby face in that picture, Drew. What's up, music? Music holds a secret. I hate this place. I've been here 7 years. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. What's up, Christos? Good to see you, bro. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, so the signal may very well be intermittent. We'll see how it goes. Good to see you, man. It's good to see you over on Drew's stream there. I think, oh, you were on Yurts, right? See, I lose track. There's so many freaking streams. Yeah, over on Yurts. I'm hoping he leaves that up. Apparently somebody showed their booty hole there at the end, towards the end. I switched over to Drew's after that, so I don't know if it's how long Yurt went, but which video? Which video are we talking about, Christos? I'm lost, man. There's too much content, and I'm getting old, so I'm not able to track these things. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't see it. Usually I'm just listening, so I was doing my morning routine, doing my thing here in the truck, preparing for the driving shift. I was merely listening, thankfully. Oh, the medication video, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the kind of an old meme now. It's that was actually Opie and Anthony made fun of that on their radio show years ago, and I think it's from a larger documentary. Yeah. We're old, Christos. We're easily amused sometimes. So, yeah, I'm hoping. I want to play because probably later today, if I still have the energy, I'll be at park somewhere, and I'll be able to live stream from my computer. So I'd like to play Kim and Paul having their conversation on Yurt there in the Thought Experiment channel. I'd like to play that and reply to it, because it's funny that, Paul was, I get confused that people are unable to understand when Paul makes his points like that about the, whatever you want to call it, how he views, himself with respect to this, the legal system and everything. And I get confused because it's like, even going back to Paul, when I first heard him, the first time I ever heard Paul was on Crow 777 when they were breaking down Paul's famous video. And like, I understood pretty much everything Paul said on there. And it's like, I'm get confused because it's like, even if Kim disagrees, why doesn't he understand where Paul's coming from? That's what it's like. It's almost like the disagreement necessitates the not being able to understand the other person's position. Like, it was abundantly clear to me. Now, the fact is, I'm still planning to purchase the jurisdictionary at some point. I want to learn all that material so I can understand Paul making fun of the course. Who cares? Why would I care? So, I start to wonder, is Kim sort of identified with, somebody like me thinking this is a good course, and I'm already knew about it, and I mentioned it to Kim, right when he had bought it. I was like, oh yeah, I know about that. I'm planning on getting that. But then running into Paul in this context, and Paul's making fun of it, like that, the course itself, like, who cares? Yeah, Yurt's badass. Absolutely. I was in Yurt's live chat when it was like me and like 3 other people. Not that gives me any kind of cred or anything, but I like his content quite a bit. Most definitely. And I guess I'm mostly doing this for the replay, although I'm glad to have Christos in the house. As well as Rob Cleveland. Sorry, my bad, Rob. I missed your comment there earlier. What's up, Rob? And Music Holds the Secret, of course. Always good to see some of the same folks around. Yeah, and Paul on his stream from earlier in the day. Now, I guess that's yesterday now, depending on what time zone one is in. But Paul's live stream went in on Snafu a little bit, because Snafu keeps wanting to call out this, what's her name? And she's over here sometimes, Venus something or other. And Venus, if you ever hear this, the only reason I didn't bring you up on panel that one time is we kind of had this whole other thing going on. So I was trying not to divert off into other things at that time. Yeah, so I feel like I've got a lot of content I can do in the next few days, as well as so when I can play the panels and respond to them, I really like that. I'm hoping Yurt still has his live stream up. He sounded kind of paranoid due to the somebody showing their booty hole. Yeah, that was I get a little confused with Kim sometimes, because it's like, I just don't understand why it's like he needs Paul to agree with him for some reason. It's bizarre to me. And I think that's part of how, when me and Kim first were going at it, when the first few times I talked to him, that's kind of where I was with him, is like, part of that was, I said, why do you need us to be on the same page? Because that's where Kim was like, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to see if we're on the same page. I'm like, why do you care if we're on the same page? Like, I can't even really relate to that. Because, I've talked to Paul a couple times, and I like his live streams, but I don't in any way assume that I'm going to agree with him and vice versa. Like, on some things, absolutely. But I can also, like, study the fucking legal system and maybe even, like, go into court. And Paul can be the type to say, like, well, I'm only going to court if they drag me in there in shackles. Like, isn't that his right as a man? Like, don't we all kind of get to choose how to interface with this thing? Like, that's how it's like, who cares whether or not Paul agrees with how I would choose to interface with the system. And then you got Mitchell out here creeping around with all types of different screen names. I want to say this, man. I'm done interacting with Mitchell because anybody who makes a new screen name and then starts knows who I am, knows that we've talked to each other in the past. But JG kind of does this, but you can still, he keeps the same icon, so you can at least tell it's him. But then, like, doesn't clue me in. Mitchell could have just been like, hey, man, it's me, Mitchell. I changed my name. But he's like talking to me in the live chat. But to me, this is like a brand new user that I've never interacted with. So, like, Mitchell, man, I'm done with you, buddy. Unless you want to come correct and let's be like, hey, Ben, it's me, Mitchell. Like, you know, I can roll with the new screen name thing if I have to. I'm always a little creepy and weird, but it's like, gonna lecture me about rights and privileges and freedoms or whatever, rights and freedoms, and more or less trying to dictate my behavior based on truth or whatever. But then he's creeping around with all different types of screen names. Like, bro, to me, that's one of the most basic things. Is like fucking back in your own play versus shouldn't we always know it's you, Mitchell? Like, what are you doing with different screen names? It's just crazy. Like, I'm not here to tell him not to do it, but it's like, are these really the people who are going to try to dictate my behavior? It's bizarre. And then talking about Paul's my daddy and all this, it's like, no, Mitchell, I think you're fantasizing. I think you're getting into some weird psychosexual power dynamics in your own fantasies, I believe. Meanwhile, Mitchell sits there with his long his flowing locks, his long pretty hair, and Paul talks about wrestling around with him and mounting him. He's just like, Mitchell's just sitting there with like a look of glee, right? So it's like, what is this, man? I mean, what is this? For real. Well, and see, that's the thing, Musical's a secret. But see, here's the thing is the righteous people immediately try to start explaining themselves. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. I understand that, like, I don't always have the exact same screen name on every fucking platform, right? As these gigantic potholes try to tear up my truck, by the way. Well, the company's truck. Hard to see the potholes at night, but no, I'm talking about he chooses different names and different icons, like that, don't pertain to each other whatsoever. Like, I've got to think, man, I could probably figure out it's you pretty quickly. Or you would, Musical's a secret, you would probably just say, hey, it's me, Musical's a secret. Like, you would probably want me to know that it was you, right? I'm assuming. Based on that we've established some sort of, internet friendship or whatever. Oh, I think, dude, my truck's all fucked up. Yeah, these, either this road is so bad that I'm just in a bunch of ruts, or like I hit a fucking pothole and it's tore some shit up in the front end. One of the two. I can't really tell. This road is so bad. It might just be ruts in the road. Yeah, I think it was just a badly rutted road. Get your shit together, New Mexico. Good Lord. What's up, Mr. Me? Good to see you, bro. Drew's still alive. I'm going to get chalked up. Just, I want everybody to know that. Oh, and look, trolling's fine. That's one thing, but it's like, it's just bizarre to me to talk. Mitchell's talking directly to me with another screen name, but other people know I'm talking to Mitchell, but I don't know I'm talking to Mitchell until then. Yurt's like, oh, I didn't know Benton and Mitchell had beef, and I'm like, well, I didn't either. And then now I'm like, oh, this American resolution. If that's Mitchell, then it makes sense that now apparently we're beefing, although we're not. Because it's funny, beef just a lot of times ends up, I'm just giving like my true impressions about somebody, like based on my own observations. Like, that's the whole thing with JG, by the way. It's just me giving my true fucking impressions based on my observations of JG, right? I don't know, man. Maybe it's the autism. I'm just frequently confused out here. Just frequently confused by people's behavior. But good to see you, Mr. Miyagi. Good to see you, bro. And I've been running out of shit to say lately on these live streams. I know that seems unlike old Benton here, but I knew this would happen if I just spoke, extemporaneously for long enough. Eventually, I would start running out of things to say. And also, like, what I've noticed is, I think in the past, some of my crankiness has been that it seems like the less that I'm utilizing my creative output, because I am a creative type, as ridiculous as that sounds, an artist to some degree, right? And the more I'm utilizing my creative outlets on a daily basis, the less cranky I am in general, and the better my mood seems to be. Versus in the past, when I really wasn't utilizing my creativity at all, it was like I was just constantly fucking agitated and cranky. So I think that's some of this with doing the content is I'm just sort of, my mood is, I'm calm and relaxed, compared to normal stuff. What's up, Ginger Ridge? Good to see you. So I think that's some of the problem with the recent live streams, because I do kind of need that emotional fucking edginess to sort of just come on here and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. It's like once that fire is not burning as brightly, there's not as much coal being shoveled into the furnace necessarily. If that makes sense. Your laptop died. Holy shit. 3 years, 1,100. Yeah, man. Well, that's one thing about my 4 different dead ThinkPads. I didn't pay more than, I think the most I paid for one of them was $250. And some of that is they get beat to death in this truck. Sometimes I store them just like in the side pocket of the door, like back in the boudoir area, whatever you call that, the wardrobe, whatever that cabinet is, that thing gets rattled around. But the mini PC, I think, is the way to go for me. It's just a little less convenient because I can't like lay in the fucking bunk and with a laptop on my stomach. Although the radiation wise, that's probably not a good idea in the first place. Yeah, I try not to pay too much for I can help it. That's part of the reason is if I pay a couple $100 and it works for 6 months and then shits the bed, like I'm not really too worried about it. Yeah, I hear you on the money, man. Unless you just have to have a laptop, you might want to think about going mini PC, but then you get into you might have to buy a screen and a keyboard and a mouse and all that. But I think I'm all in like $500 for my new stuff, somewhere in the general vicinity of $500. We'll see. I think at some point I'm going to get a decent phone. We shall see. I almost like this Walmart Family Mobile. Now that they're on Verizon's network, I had them before. I was thinking about it. I almost bought a couple SIM cards yesterday. The only thing I don't like is they package their SIM card with their $40 monthly plan, which is not the plan I would get. I want the 2 lines for 74. It's like 90 with the taxes and fees, because each line gets 30 gig of hotspot. Probably just going to end up going to Verizon though here pretty soon and just they've got like 150 gig of hotspot for like $90 if you already have a voice line with them. So probably going to do that. Yeah, I got like 4 different laptops I need to take apart, yank the hard drives out of. That's going to require parking the rig for a couple of days though. I have to get to Arkansas, get to my storage locker. But yeah, definitely. There seems to be an ebb and a flow with these live streams. There for a few days, like I had time when I could do my when I could live stream from my computer, but it was like, hey, I didn't really see anything I wanted to reply to, but now now I've seen a few things that I can play and respond to. So look for that. Make sure I'm still on the right highway here. Yeah, 60 more miles. I got to make a left. Uh-oh, now the internet's shit in the bed. Am I still here? I think I am. Yep, I'm still here. Thank you all for hanging out. I do appreciate it. Makes my drive go much better. That's for sure. Okay, good. Still here. Yeah, man, it was cold yesterday when I got to the Walmart. It was like 26 degrees, but dude, once the sun came out, I actually had trouble sleeping in the daytime because of that greenhouse effect. It actually got hot in the truck. The high was like, it only got up to like 45 yesterday, but I was in the direct sunlight. That reminds me, dude, I found like these, those reflective, whatever that's called, that you put on the window shades you put on your inside of your windshield. I found one on Amazon I want to get for the big truck here, but it's too big to be sent to an Amazon order, so I got to try to figure out how I can have this thing sent to. If I'm going to be working this summer, I'm going to have to block out the sun as much as I'm able to. See what I mean? Out of shit to say. But anybody got any thoughts on that? If you saw Kim and Paul going at it, I was a little confused by Kim kind of spurting out there, confused. Well, Ginger Ridge, the heater that runs off of the APU is not working. I think maybe it's just a fuse, but the thing about it being just a fuse is, something has to cause the fuse to blow, right? But so the heaters that operate off of there are two heaters that operate off of the engine, and those both work. But although I can't really tell if the APU has its own heater or does it use the heater in the sleeper cab, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. But yeah, these trucks are overly complicated sometimes. But since the AC works on the APU, not to try to, because these APUs, if there's anything at all wrong with it, it'll end up having to go to a carrier dealer. Because what our shop is able to do will be limited because they don't really work on APUs. So this would be a whole new can of worms. And since I live in the truck, it's not very convenient for me to drop the truck off at a dealership somewhere. So there's always that. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, these trucks. I know back during the height of the supposed supply chain issues, there was lots of people, like especially owner operators, running their own, one truck, and some sensor would go bad and just couldn't get the sensor for like 6 months in their truck. So it'd be like literally under warranty. It'd just be sitting at a dealer for like months and months and months. And then so if you're an owner operator, what to do about that? Just shit out of luck. At least but then that shows you like the trucking companies like my company size, certainly I'm sure it caused them some problems, but then like the gigantic companies, they all have enough tractors just laying around not being used. They're able to more or less operate, as normal, I would imagine. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something with his psychology where it's just like his like emotionally he needs everybody to agree with him. It seems like, and I can't relate to that because to me that's just not important. That people agree with me. Now maybe that's maybe I'm unusual in that regard, but it's like who cares? Like I don't expect, especially someone with a strong personality like Paul Enslaved. It's like why would I even think he's going to agree with me across? That doesn't even seem possible. That we're going to agree across the board. Like what? It's just bizarre to me. I don't understand. It seems like a bad strategy for life in a lot of ways. It's just like let's try to reach a consensus with like literally every person we talk to. Like, what? Stay on the road, man. This road sucks. It's good to see some people throwing down some super chats over at Chalked Up. Man, my internet was so bad, I didn't even know that was Rusty. I was kind of, he was sort of Rusty Smackleford. He was sort of tongue in cheek, making some jokes about Trump, and I thought he was serious because I didn't know it was him. Like, because I was on that 144p, not looking at the screen, my internet was so deep. And then finally, I'm like, oh, that's Rusty. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense now. Damn. Well, see, I don't necessarily agree with that musical secret about other. I think he wants other people to. I think maybe he wants to work with other people and like maybe I'm just guessing. Like I don't know. I'm trying to here basically. Maybe he would be the type because when he was talking about all that mock court type of thing, like he's maybe wanting to get other people involved at a social level with his court stuff, and I find it interesting. Of course I do. And I've had some really good conversations with him. Like I even had one off air. We talked like an hour one day, and a lot of it had to do with his court stuff. I think this is just my opinion. I think he gets his own like stuff wrapped up in these things. I do think he's a type like, a warrior who needs a war kind of thing, right? Like this is now his fucking war. This is, it can become somebody's purpose in life, at least temporarily, right? And I think Paul kind of hits the nail on the head just generally, and I don't mean with respect to him, but I heard, Paul, if you really listen to what he's saying, and I'm able to listen and unemotionally able to take in the information. I think that's where I have an advantage listening to somebody like Paul is that I'm able to, just taking in his ideas. I'm forming opinions of his presentment and the person, but I'm not experiencing a bunch of emotions when I'm hearing all of this. You can tell Kim is going through this whole emotional upheaval and processing. Like I'm not, thank God I don't have to process the data emotionally, right? But Paul gets on this jag about, he's talking about other people sort of, and I kind of lost the point I wanted to make, but if you go back and listen to Paul on Yurt tonight, he really, I think he hits the nail on the head with respect to a lot of people's psychology and how they operate. And it's very astute. And part of that he's tying in, I think, with like a life's purpose. And, Paul he also said, and people can make fun of Paul. See, Paul gets discredited at the level of, oh, you're just doing live streams from a trailer. But it's like, yeah, man, but that's not the story. The story is 150 motherfuckers are watching him live stream all day. Some of them are there all day long. And he has a very high level of engagement. Like YouTube tracks all of this. Paul has a high level of engagement especially if you look at how many are in his live chat versus how many subscribers he has, and how many different people interact with the live chat, and then the panels, and then he's monologuing, and part of it's entertainment also. It's like, it's disingenuous to say, oh well, you're just doing live streams from your trailer. It's like, yeah, he is doing live streams from a trailer. Yeah, he is doing that, but that's not the whole story. You know, so like, give credit where credit's due is what I would say. But that doesn't. But see, I think where people misunderstand me sometimes is, but I'm not involved with people and personalities other than, yeah, I love to collaborate with people on content, and that's, whatever, internet friendship or acquaintanceship me and Drew may have, it's mostly based in creating content. So if Paul and I maybe have some sort of acquaintanceship going forward, possibly, which may or may not ever come to fruition, by the way, if it does occur, I think that's going to be rooted in, making content. But it's not this, I need to identify with the humanity of Paul Enslaved as a human being in order to interface with this channel. I think some people really do have that need. And I'm not here to say that's wrong. I'm here to say that that's not my basis for like interfacing with the internet. When I first started interfacing with the internet, it had zero to do with anybody's personality. We, in fact, didn't even know anybody's personality other than what we could deduce over time from, like, literally from chatting with someone on IRC. Like, I got some on IRC back in the day, right? Didn't even, and eventually, like, met a lady and talked to her on the phone to hear her voice eventually. Like, what are we even talking about here? To where now, like, everybody's on the internet. And at a certain point, I realized, okay, oh, it's not the old days of Benton is here on the internet. It's not the old days of Benton internet, and it's just ideas. Now it's like everybody's on the internet and they brought their feelings. It's like, wait a minute, this is not, my internet didn't used to be about your feelings. But I also realized, okay, well, this does have some validity, right? But if I just want to suit myself, I don't want anything to do with anybody's feelings, personally. That's my autism. Like, ooh, feelings, ew. Gross. And thank God I don't even have the emotional intelligence, this so-called EQ. I don't even have it. Like, I've developed it probably as much as I'm ever going to be able to develop it. I've worked on my EQ for years, man, just to be able to talk to my friends, not that I have any, but just to be able to talk to people without unintentionally hurting their feelings. Dude, I used to be so oblivious. I used to hurt people's feelings, not know I hurt their feelings. Like, literally not know. But so this whole, I can accept that many people need to identify with the personality of the content creator, but then we get back to somebody like Mitchell, like, Paul's your daddy or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not. I don't operate on those levels, sir. My dad's name's Larry Benton. He's fucking 6'2", 260. He's terrifying, or he was when I was a boy. Smallest of four boys. Fucking daddy was a football hero. His dad's a football hero. Like, that's my dad. I had a very strong father. Like, and that's part of the reason why when I married ex-wife number 2, she had a 10-year-old son who, thank God, had a very involved father. It's like, when I was 10, I never would have accepted another man. So that, man, and look, I understand do you think if I agree with how he uses that term, that concept in his content? I bet he doesn't give a fuck. So now we get back to Kim. Why do you care so much for Paul thing? Like, well, thanks, Ginger. And it kind of shows you uh, something about Benton, because I go on there hooping, hollering, and cranky in the morning sometimes. Like, again, like at first I thought, oh, good, they finally realized don't try to bring Benton on the panel right when he woke up. But then, an hour into my morning routine, here they are, Benton, get up here. It's like, haven't they figured out yet that if you're streaming at nighttime, I've just woke up, man. So it's like, do we really want cranky Benton on here? But if I come on there all cranky and hooping and hollering, no, everybody gets triggered and I get kicked off the panel. But EBT's fucking hooping and hollering and everybody's yelling at each other and it's completely fine. Which I accept that, but it's like there's obviously something about my personality that just fucking rubs a lot of people the wrong way, right? Meanwhile, in IRL, dude, I don't have problems with this at all, dude. I just make people fucking deal with it. But I guess in real life, they can't just click a button and disconnect me. But I'm only going to listen to so much of the cacophony of intransigence, right? So it's like, damn, I've been driving almost an hour. I'm still 45 miles away from where I had intended to end the day yesterday, but oh well. I ended up stopping short. Yeah, exactly. Drunk monkey tars. What's up? That's right. What's interesting is Drew's panels. They usually, they start out really good usually, but then it devolved into that. But foil are working out something they need to work out because I do think there's been way too much tolerance of whatever tinfoils they're calling it, what gamma spurging or whatever they're calling it, because he definitely does that a lot. And when I used to try to call him out for it, people just took his side. And although I didn't know to call it that, but I used to try to call him out for his behavior and his tone and everything. And he just fell on deaf ears. But then again, I'm always just slightly ahead of the curve, it seems. So I should learn to just realize, okay, if I'm on to something and nobody else is, probably I'm just early and they're going to get there in about 6 months or so. They were arguing about autism. That's great. Yeah, hilarious. I love it though. I love it. I love it. I just can't listen to it, and it makes for a bad broadcast, right? When everybody's talking over each other. And that's part of the thing with is they know not to talk over each other. You can tell they've had some sort of media training or something going on with them. I don't watch them myself. But lest we forget, Drew was doing panels before us because we were just doing it through Discord, the old Discord voice cringe days. It was mostly audio, though. We didn't really have the technology to have people weren't camming up back then. It was just talking early audio over the panels. So then Paul wants to make it seem like, Drew and everybody else expecting. I think I hit the limits of my T-Mobile, my Mint Mobile hotspot. I think. Now, which one is me? Is the question. Okay, I'm on the left, or I'm on the right rather. Yeah, yeah. I think probably my probably just ran out of my hotspot data. Yeah, shout out to Drew. Exactly. Well, and that's the only reason anybody's listening to me is because of Drew. So I'm always going to be loyal to Drew on that level. I recognize that he helped me out a lot. That's for sure. No doubt about that. Yeah, I understand the late at night versus early in the morning, but I'm watching my mood also. It's like, if you guys can really observe your moods, in real time, which I don't, that doesn't come naturally to me, but with the meditation, I've been, I'm much more able to sort of monitor my own physiology and my own mood, in real time. And, I forgot what I'm trying to say. Just watching, just listening to people argue, I can see like my stressors, my physical stressors start to go up. It's like, wait, then I'm like thinking to myself, like, well, shit, I'm calm and chill. So, like, do I really want to keep listening to this? But then I can sort of just turn it into a meditation because now I'm like, okay, can I just breathe and like, really meditate through this and sort of increase my ability to deal with, things that otherwise would, trigger my, my physical stressors, whatever you want to call that, my, the cortisol and all that stuff. That makes sense. Am I making sense? I think I am. I think I am. Sometimes I'm not sure if I'm making sense. But yeah, this weird identity with content creators, it's definitely something I've been talking about for a while now. So when Mitchell, all this weird, Paul's your daddy and all this, it's like, and I'm not even going to respond at that point. So like, I'm just not even going to sit tight. But if I was, I'd be like, no, he's your daddy, or you want him to be. Like, I had a very strong, involved father. So, and I never would have accepted once, I got to know my dad by the time I was, old enough to have an intelligent conversation and got to know my father, right? Like on a level of being able to talk to him and stuff. Dude, there's no fucking way I would have dealt with somebody else as a father figure. This wasn't happening. No, just not possible. So yeah, I get the part though where people never had that in their life. So yeah, I can understand that, but I can't relate to it. But and I have noticed many times in my adult life where it was like, oh, this is someone I'm interacting with, someone who has daddy issues, but it used to only be women. I'll notice it in women. I say, oh, okay, this women got daddy issues, and it's like, oh, in my tone of voice, just even just a strong male voice can trigger, a person's daddy issues. It's like, oh, I'm triggering their daddy issues, but I'm just like, hey, I don't have kids. Like, I'm 18 in my brain. I don't view myself as a father figure. Like, this is ridiculous. Y'all are gonna have to figure it out. You know, like, what is this? And I also think this is something about the panels is it's like you know you'll have something like get chalked up, and I think people think, oh, like, oh, Benton's in the live chat, and it's like, oh, we'll come up on the panel, but it's like, well, no, I have a channel, so maybe if I have something to say, I might just go to my channel and say it. You guys can fucking stream snipe me if you want to. Maybe they are right now. I doubt it, but because they can't stop talking amongst themselves long enough. Even if I was saying things that were interesting enough, right? Do I really have 332 subscribers now? Wow, holy smokes! I had no idea. So that's 333. We're creeping on up. Creeping on up, Drew. I might hit that 1,000 yet, partner. Just might take a couple of years. Once I get them, I tend to keep them, though. I've noticed. So my gratitude. People in here is fine with me because there's a lot of people. There's some people who only ever catch the replays. I'm looking at you, AJ Lloyd. Some people don't have all data, and no offense to anybody who's here normally, but some people aren't able to be in live streams all day. But I am. But oh man, the T-Mobile connection seems a lot better. Am I gonna have to pull over and they'll sell me 10 gig of hotspot for $20? I'm gonna have to pull over and just pay for some hotspot, I guess. It's crazy. Or maybe I can figure that out while I'm driving. Crazy. I don't blame. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is off the rails now with the connection problem. Yeah. Go watch Drew. Well, I did call it signal permitting, so the signal is not permitting. Later, what's up? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Trout fishing. All right. Awesome. Trout fishing in America. And this road is hot. Oh, well, basically, if I can ever finish my point on this, Paul was saying, I think this is every time I try to make this point, I get disconnected. But Paul making the point that he's just busy all day, every day now. And then talking about, necessarily a woman has to fit into his life, not vice versa and all this. But then I remember being in my 20s working at this computer store, and there was this guy in his 40s, and he was talking about how he just was more or less just had shit to do all day, every day. And a lot of that had to do with, serving his family's needs and all this. Especially in the 20s, I was involved in just a lot of, entertaining myself and, wanting to work, get to my house and play with my computers or whatever I was trying to do. Yeah, we're fucked out here. Yeah, signal is fucked. I had a feeling this is what it was going to be like. Oh well. Apologies to anybody who's trying to watch this live. It's funny how, by the way, this is absolutely the worst internet I've experienced, and it just happens to be in an area where almost no white people live. So, I mean, maybe there is something to this systemic racism. It's almost 100% natives out here. Like literally everybody that worked at the Walmart was native. Went in there yesterday. By the way, I'm not even kidding. Probably the best Walmart I've ever been in as far as just how well everything was, all the merchandise is properly faced and everything. How people talk about you going to some Walmarts, and it's like, if you go, especially if you like to go right when they open like I do, it's like there's fucking pallets everywhere, and the stockers, you can't even hardly walk around in there. Dude, it wasn't like that at all, man. It's like goes up and does their job. It's like, imagine if everybody that worked at your job just like showed up and did their fucking job and took pride in their work, right? Culturally, I think there's something to that. Like these people they're just a little better somehow in that way collectively. Now, why that is debatable, obviously, but it shows, man. Like literally 100% Native American workforce. Maybe some of the managers came up through the Walmart training, and maybe they're not from here, but dude, everybody else is from the local area and they're all fucking Native American. Every single one of them. Just seem like the salt of the earth as far as I can tell. Oh, but by the way, masked up, man. More than half of those workers were wearing masks. Probably about 75%. Not even kidding, man. What is it about the engines? I talk about blacks love the mask. The engines have gone for it harder than anybody. And I was going to title the stream "We Was Engines" since I'm driving up to through Indian territory here. And in fact, where I'd originally started to park is up here in Shiprock, New Mexico. And there's like literally a Bureau of Indian Affairs building up there. So when I was debating on whether or not to park in Gallup, I was like, fuck it, like not that those people would hurt me or anything. It was like, just kind of gave me an uneasy feeling. So just bear with me. If the signal cuts out, it should come back. It's just a matter of if I look at the screen or not. If I'm on a good rant, sometimes I may not notice that I'm not connected. We'll do a speed test real quick on the T-Mobile. May actually be worth paying for the hotspot data. Now it's slow as Christmas too. Yeah, it's not even worth fucking with. Oh, it just went to LTE for 5G also. Yeah, it's so bad. The internet speed test won't even load. So I can't even see your comments at this point. My work phone is just completely not working at this point. So flying blind, folks. If you're commenting, I can't read them. Actually, I guess I could, but I'd have to move the phone to where you won't be able to see the road. And some folks do seem to enjoy being able to see the road ahead. I guess we'll roll with it. Oh, I finally stocked up on tuna. I've gone to Walmart after Walmart here for like 3 weeks, maybe a month, because the brand of tuna I get, I guess it's StarKist with the olive oil, and it's like $2 a can, but then they sell like a 4-pack that's all shrink wrapped together for like $7.34, and I don't really care about the money so much, but it's just more convenient than having just 100 loose cans of tuna in the truck, or 50 loose cans of tuna. So this Walmart and Gallup, they actually had the full fucking shit. So I bought all of them. Bought every one of their 4-packs of tuna in that one brand. I hate that I have to do that now, but it's like same thing with the butane canisters. I bought 3 of them because it's like so many Walmarts just don't have them. Although I think I figured out, I think I might actually have an inverter in the truck and just didn't realize it, because there's like an AC outlet back there, and I never noticed, but it's actually the green light's on. I think maybe it actually works. I'm thinking about getting a. One thing about when it's real cold, if I have to open the windows to run my stove, and it's like I'm letting the cold air in, so I might get me an electric kettle. That's part of the reason I'm driving, by the way. The schedule I'm driving is so not have to sit around in the truck in the cold. I think I woke up at like 8 p.m. Check in with the chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, nobody's even chatting anymore. Yeah. Anyway, shout out to the chat. Every once in a while, I can go to StreamYard here and see if y'all are talking about anything. But and I know the streams, my content hasn't quite been up to par here lately. I recognize that. It's just at a certain point, now I'm just talking about not having things to talk about. So it does become comical at a certain point. I think I'm driving through like a full-on reservation at some point today. And my plan is to end the day on the north side of Salt Lake City, but if I get tired, well, and it's a longer driving day than normal. I think 545 miles is the plan for today. So if I get tired of driving, I may stop early. We'll see. The delivery's not till tomorrow at 11. Oh, and then we got snow coming in, of course, snow. So I'm supposed to be taking a 34-hour restart. So, but I'm kind of incentivized to try to get loaded Monday afternoon and try to leave the area and at least get back down to 40 before other than maybe getting snowed in Salt Lake. Fucking, what is it? Damn near, it's middle of March. I guess that's just how it goes, right? It's part of it. Maybe the connection will be better if I just go videoless for a while. We'll see if that helps anything. What's up, Robin? Good to see you. Just cruising these back roads here in New Mexico. As soon as I rolled out today, I got behind the drunkest driver I've ever seen, which is that's saying something. And they ended up, I immediately spotted them as a drunk driver. So I said, well, obviously I'm not going to go anywhere near them. And then wasn't 5 minutes later, they caused a 3-vehicle accident. Not in Utah yet. I'm in New Mexico. I'm going to end the day on the north side of Salt Lake, though. Well, maybe. Unless I get tired and feel like stopping early, but I'm at least going to make it to the greater Salt Lake area. Watch out, Provo kid. I'm coming to your town. Assuming he's actually in Provo. Yeah, I'm a little annoyed at. Apparently, I'm going to be there, and it's going to start snowing. Which I've driven on the snow plenty, but still annoying. But no, I'm in New Mexico. Just left out of Gallup about an hour and 15 minutes ago. Headed north. I could have gone up through Denver and stayed more on the interstate, but actually it's already had snow on that route. So, or it had it in the forecast anyway. So I came this way. What's up, Rusty? Good to see you, bro. I don't know. I'm assuming Drew's done now. I'm guessing. Yeah, there's suddenly 16 people here. I don't have too much, guys. We can do panels if you want, because my connection is really bad out here. So maybe let me drop the link. That might help, actually. And I'm not able to pin the link. I'm not able to pin it right now. So if the mods will repost it later, you know what I mean. But yeah, if anybody wants to chop it up now, especially now that there's a few folks here, feel free to click the link there, because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I've even turned my video off. I'm driving. I got a bad signal. So I can definitely solo it, but I'm beginning to repeat myself more and more over time. Probably not going to hear from JG's Demon, though. I think I've had enough of trying to listen to JG's Demon come through the internet. Just whatever is always wrong with his audio connection. Ads all I can stands, I can't stands no more. So welcome, folks who are presumably tuning in. I'm assuming Drew is no longer live. My guess, anyway. My T-Mobile is now completely offline. It's not doing anything. Shout out to Verizon. I'm still here somehow, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Well, it is kind of interesting. I think JG's angle of like holding all of the internet to the standards of like Philadelphia fucking street codes, like that is kind of interesting at first, but eventually, you know, it's a little tiresome, I must say, in my opinion, a little tiresome. Maybe try to move on from that, and grow as a person. Maybe I'm not even saying to do that. I don't believe in. I believe unasked for advice is aggression. So it's like I'm not even advising him. Saying maybe think about realizing that the rest of the world does not operate based on like the code of the streets in Philadelphia. Maybe have some awareness of that. What's up, Tranquil Vortex? I'm on the mend. Thanks for asking. I was actually able to lay on my left side a little bit. So versus, and when I woke up, I was not in excruciating pain. So that helps. Yeah, I think I'm a couple more days. Problem for me is if I forget that I'm got that, and I am technically probably injured. You know, I forget I'm injured, and then it's like I moved too quick or something while I'm trying to fuel the rig, and it's like I can feel my kidney kind of twisting or something. It's not good. Yeah, I'm all right. Doing much better, much less bad. Thank you for asking. I bruised my kidney very badly, or badly. I don't know about very badly. Apparently, if it's very badly, you start to piss blood. So I haven't pissed any blood. So that's good. Oh, I've been taking it easy. Just after my shift, all I do is like I do whatever little bit I have to do to take care of my personal needs, and then I just lay down. So basically, I just laid down for like 11 to like 8. So I got rest, whether or not I got sleep. I think I only slept maybe 4 hours of that, 3 hours, 3 to 4.5 hours, something like that. Anyway, anybody cares to join the panel or create a panel, there is not a panel. Create a panel where one does not yet exist. Feel free. Between my connection problems and running out of shit to say, probably use a co-host at this point. Yeah, remember. I don't think he's mad. I think he's demonized, and I don't think his demons like being called out. Like, I really mean that. I really think he is under demonic oppression. He does seem very resistant to the notion of demons. He seems to think it's just what does he say? They're a myth, and he does seem to believe in the spiritual war between the forces of good and the forces of evil. So even that seems like a contradiction in terms. Like, yeah, you don't have to believe in something we would refer to as a demon necessarily, but yeah, a spirit of wickedness. Are you saying that that does not exist, JG? And he probably is on drugs. I mean, let's face the reality that he's most likely on drugs, although maybe he's not. I know when I was in the streets, nobody really believed me that I never did. Well, the people that were around me doing meth and I never did meth, they believed me, but just random people I would run into on the street. I'm sure none of them believed me when I said I don't do drugs, but I don't. Probably why it doesn't really bother me if JG tries to say I'm on drugs, but it seems to kind of bother JG when, by the way, I could, if I had bothered to make note of which live stream and the time code, he did at one point heavily imply that maybe he would be the type to occasionally smoke some drugs and stay up all night. He didn't say it directly, but he certainly implied it. And I'm not the only one that heard it. So I tend to believe people when they tell me things like that. But I don't care what he does. Do whatever you want, man. I don't care if he does drugs. I don't care if he does drugs. That's his business. That's his body, right? JG's body, JG's choice. You wanna, and by the way, people who've even abusing alcohol for long periods of time. I mean, they call it spirits for a reason, right? It's like JG said he's been drinking for years, just. But I'm the crazy one for thinking he's under demonic oppression. Okay, buddy, sure thing, buddy. And then triggered by Jesus. JG's literally triggered by the concept of Jesus. But no problem with Buddha. No problem with Krishna, right? It's just that Jesus fellow that triggers. But this ain't no Bible channel, and I am not a Christian, so I would not want to be confused for one of those hypocrites that calls themselves a Christian. Would not want to be confused for one of them, like Dick Gregory said. How come I can see a woman walking down the street, and by the way she walks, I know she's a prostitute, but I don't know you're a Christian unless you tell me. Something to that. Well, ran off about 4 Christians, I guess. Oh well, it happens. I did like to see. I like seeing EBT going in on tinfoil though. I like that. It's about time. My personal belief, I always thought EBT was a little too tolerant of some of tinfoil's behavior. Yeah, I'm getting there. Tinsel TQ, good to see you. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm still in pain, but it's not as bad as it was. Certainly able to move around much easier. At first, I was kind of limping around. Limping around. See if I'm back on the. Maybe I'm back on my phone now. Wait a minute. Where's my turn? Oh, 10 miles to my turn. I better. Although I think it's a T now that I think about it. Yeah, I don't think I'm able to go straight. We're about to be cruising past like the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Not that you'll really be able to see it. Probably actually probably Feel like my gallbladder is going to heal up in the long run, but it's pretty fucking rough in the meantime. I feel kind of ill from that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm definitely. It's taking a little bit out of me. I'm definitely not quite as full of piss and vinegar as normal. That's for sure. Nobody wants to talk to him. It's all right. I'll bet he talk to himself. Dang. Yeah, I didn't quite completely understand that comment, but it seemed like it was probably true to me. I'm actually almost to Shiprock there, Robin. I think about 10 miles from the center of town. But when I'm truck driving, I don't really get to see anything other than the road and the truck stop. It's not that whole idea of seeing the country. That's just a total myth. You see almost nothing. Chat disappeared. That shouldn't have anything to do with it because that's all through YouTube. You might just need to reload it, Robin. Sometimes YouTube fucks up the actual. I don't know if you're on your phone or what, but sometimes the actual YouTube client fucks up. I have to reload mine constantly when I'm driving. Yeah, it's coming through on StreamYards. I just earlier my the T-Mobile stopped working earlier, but now I'm coming into a town, so I'm probably going to have signal at least while I'm in this town. Yeah, intermittent signal this evening. Because I am in the middle of nowhere. So is there something special about Shiprock? The only thing I know, main thing I noticed was on the map there was a, like I said, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which is had a bit of a ignominious history here in the U.S. If I'm using that term properly. Yeah, that's probably a YouTube issue. Whatever happened with the chat, that would I don't think that would have anything to do with my connection because it's actually one of the advantages of StreamYard is they're the ones that are sending the stream to YouTube. It has nothing to do with my phone. Now I can it's just like I'm just like if I'm one of six people on a panel, it doesn't really matter that I'm the one that's doing the live stream. I don't think since I'm going through StreamYard, if that makes sense. If you get my drift. Because even when I come on here and just talk and never have somebody and never even drop the link, I still do the stream through StreamYard. It's very convenient. Very convenient. I do think it's funny that it's all Native Americans that live around here, and this is like some of the shittiest signal I've ever experienced. I'm almost never in an area where the Verizon and the T-Mobile are both go to shit. Kind of reminds me like in Portland, the yellow line of the Max, their light rail, that was the only line that consistently ran behind schedule, and goes to the black part of town, downtown. Like, oh, okay, sure, makes total sense. Systemic racism, right? Ah, try to pin the link if I can. This is Shiprock, Robin, by the way. Shiprock, New Mexico, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this is the Bureau of Indian Affairs on the left. Not that you guys can see it, but nice building, nice modern building. Your tax dollars at work, managing the engines, engine management. Oh, curb out of nowhere. Try not to get followed out of town. I'm not sure how much traffic there is though. These people just love to follow the rig. No, there's too many cars. Looks like. No, maybe not. I might be able to get out of here without getting followed. Well, that Robin, that's the thing is for truck driving, this is from Dallas. This is probably the most commonly taken route, most likely, because it's all interstate. Well, it's all highway. You know, it's not necessarily all interstate out of Dallas, but it's you take 40 all the way to Gallup. That's a long fucking way from Dallas. Versus going all up through Colorado and shit. Pretty much, you want to take 40. You know, it's different when I go to Phoenix, but for a lot of West Coast, you want to go as far. You want to go as far on 40 as you can, and then shoot up north off of 40. That's the way I understand how truck driving works. It's a lot different in a truck than in a car. A lot different. So I was looking at maybe going up through Oklahoma instead of coming this way, Oklahoma and then Colorado. But like some of the alternate route, there's not even anywhere I can get fuel. So it's like, you know, that's part of the reason. Like this route, there's fuel everywhere except for this. You know, I've got like 5 hours of 2-lane or whatever. But yeah, I think from Dallas to Salt Lake, this is probably actually the most commonly used route. Believe it or not, Robin. As crazy as that sounds, this is probably the most commonly used route. My dispatcher just assumed that this was the way I was coming when she told me where to get fuel. Yeah, truck driving can be funny that way. That's probably why this road is destroyed. I bet there's a lot of truck. Not at this time of night. But I bet in the daytime. I bet you there's a lot of trucks on this route. That's always a good sign when the people just pass you immediately. A lot of places they're hesitant to pass. This guy just went right around. Now he's braking though. Not a fan of that. How you gonna jump in front of me and then start hitting the brake? That's bizarre. Oh, there's a big rig blocking the road. No wonder trying to park here. Okay, I see now. Yes, there's 2 rigs right here on the right here. Oh, that's just one. That's bizarre. I think he did a fucking U-turn or something. That was strange. Very strange. like a fucking 3-point turn. Man, maybe I am talked out. It's out of shit to say, man. Yeah, I'm probably going to start taking some days off here and there. Most likely, try to get my vitriol built back up, get my dander up. Well, I'm going to try to keep the stream. Oh, wait, somebody's calling in to save the day. Yay. Oh, thank God. What's up, Robin?
Hey, I thought I'd call you before you lose service because you're going out into the boonies.
Oh, I know. I'm in the boonies. That's why I named it. That's why the stream is named what it's named.
Yeah, I didn't think that you'd get service. I've been down there. There's not much service, but things are getting better since I've been there. So
Cool.
we're mainly down there for Lake Powell.
I don't know anything about this area, so I don't know what that is.
Well, you're in the Four Corners area, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona.
Yeah, well, like I say, I looked at the map. I just don't know anything about the area is what I'm saying.
So are you coming up 191 going through Moab and Monticello?
I think so.
Well, you'll see some pretty country in the morning.
Cool.
But I don't know if you
I think by the time the sun comes up, I'll be through all of this, actually.
You may not make your drop. If you have a drop at 11, that's a lot of back roads.
Monday.
Oh, Monday. Oh, yeah, you're fine. There's a really cool in southern Utah along the 70, but you didn't come across the 70. There's a really cool hot springs called Mystic. And the guy that owns it was a graphic artist for the Grateful Dead. And his whole place is Grateful Dead memorabilia. And the whole campground, he rents out old tour buses from the Grateful Dead tour. He's like fixed them up. But they call him Mystic Mike. But
where was that, did you say?
That's by Richfield, Utah. It's in
Oh,
Monroe,
okay.
Utah, but just south of Richfield, Utah. I don't know if it's along your way or where you're stopping or staying the night, but you might have to buy a little buddy heater if they have a
No,
high.
I'm going all the way to the north side of Salt Lake on this driving shift.
Oh,
See
okay.
to you this seems like a lot of driving. This ain't shit.
Oh, yeah.
This ain't shit.
I just
I
heard you
drive
say that
all
you're.
day every day. I drive all day every day. This ain't shit.
I
Yeah.
just heard you say you have no heater.
No, I have a heater. The heater for the APU doesn't work. That's when I'm
Oh,
parked. Now the heater
okay.
works. It actually works too good when I'm driving. I keep having to turn it off because it works too well.
Oh, you'll
Yeah.
be fine then. You just have to keep on driving.
No, I started my shift 1 hour and 49 minutes ago. That's when I started my driving shift. So I'm just getting
Yes.
started for the day.
I saw you at Drew's. They got pretty spazzed out over there at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody seems to
Definitely.
be on the same spazzy mood, so it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it for a little while. It's just eventually it's too much for me to keep listening to.
Well, the Wasatch back is way better than the Wasatch front, so don't be judging my Utah. You're going
Well, I'm
through
not even
the
going to be able to see it.
yeah.
I'm not going to be able to see anything. I'll damn near be to Salt Lake. I'll be able to see stuff. See what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the
This says I'm getting to the north side of Salt Lake at 7:45 a.m. I'm not going to see anything through here. It's going to be dark the whole time.
Oh, well, you're getting there pretty fast. Whoa.
No, that's what truck driving is. Truck driving, you just go and you get there. See, I don't think people really understand until you drive a truck all day, every day. Just people, I'd have had no concept of what it was like either.
I'm just not factoring in a round of sleep is what it is. It's your daytime, it's my nighttime.
Well, and I adjusted my schedule because it's cold.
It was 11 degrees here this morning.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'm starting out my driving shift much earlier than normal because of the weather.
Well, I hope you
And
feel better soon. It sounds
oh
like you
yeah,
don't feel.
yeah, I'm on the mend for sure. But thanks. Yeah.
My daughter's in southern Utah right now with friends, but she'll be coming back. I got to meet her along the Wasatch Front tomorrow. But yeah, it's the Wasatch
How
Front.
far is that
I'll be in
for you?
Ogden, Utah around 6 p.m. It's about an
Oh, okay.
hour and a half to Ogden. Yeah, not too far. I'm almost on the Idaho border.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But yeah, I like
Awesome.
Utah.
Yeah, I've been here not a lot, but I've been here in the past
You've
before the
been in
truck driving.
the north
I've been
part, truck
everywhere.
driving? No.
No, not truck driving. I went to almost the entire country before I ever drove a truck. People forget that. They just think trucker. But I actually lived out of a backpack and traveled the whole country for 6 straight years.
Oh, that's right.
You don't see anything truck driving. You see the interstate and the truck stop. And occasionally you go through the middle of nowhere like this, but it might be nighttime. And if it was daytime, the traffic would be so bad I wouldn't be able to see anything anyway. Yeah,
That's right.
truck driving is not a way to see the country.
You're
But people
stuck in
think it is.
you're stuck in a cage.
It's just a job. I mean, if you
Yeah.
Well, sorry about that. I dropped off. We're definitely in the middle of nowhere.